Coach Korn, second year in the system at Liberty. How different has this spring been for you so far? You kind of know your guys a little bit. Got some new guys there, but you know them a little bit.
Yeah, huge difference from last spring, because last spring you walked off the practice field after those first couple spring practices thinking this is going to be a long year. Yeah, anytime you're installing a new offense and you're learning new players, I think that takes time. But even there's some guys that maybe it wasn't their time last year and they're getting some quality reps now. They understand it. They've been in it for a year, and so the first couple of days last year you just wanted people to step and go and block the correct person. They're doing that now. So now you're trying to you don't start over in terms of what you're installing. You start over in terms of, okay, who is going to stand out during spring ball, during fall camp, and who do you build the offense around. There's so many question marks last spring and fall camp. We didn't think Aaron Bedgood was going to be, we had him to try and fill a need and a role at receiver, and he did that, but also morphed into just such a critical part of the offense. And last February, you weren't thinking that. C.J. Daniels coming off of his injury last year, he still, he got more and more confident as spring and fall camp went on. You didn't know you're going to have the type of player that you had. So that's the biggest thing. I think you're trying to see who are the guys that are going to step up during spring ball and during fall camp that you're like, okay, we need to build around these players and build your base schemes off of who's out there, not necessarily starting over in terms of what you're installing.
I think like human nature for players with the new staff, you're trying to prove yourself and catch their eye in that first spring. Then you have all that success. Are you still seeing that? Like, are you still seeing that kind of hunger and that like trying to prove something out there?
So far, it was only the first day of pads, but I do think guys are practicing very hard, because there is it's just kind of what it's going to be with college football now. You're going to have a lot of new faces, a lot of new players out there. And when we first started this semester, that was the thing that I texted Caden before we started up this spring. Like, I want to see, like, you were extremely hungry to prove yourself and win the job. Like, you were foaming at the mouth to win this job. And now that you won the job and now you're the guy and all eyes are on you, it has to be that and more. You still have to be hungry, and it was good to hear him say those things, that, yeah, he's still scratching the surface. As great of a year as he is, there's still some little technique things that he can continue to improve upon. And I think you're seeing that from a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of new incoming freshmen and transfers that are hungry being out there, but I've been pleased with the guys that were marquee guys for you last year, really taking a lot of excitement at practice and really working on the little things and attentive in meetings. But yeah, we've been pleased through the first three. It's the first day in pads, and it'll go quick because we're practicing 4 times a week. So can you have that same energy and excitement when it's the 4th practice of the week and it's starting to get a little redundant and all that stuff? So, but there's so many new faces. I think you're seeing that. A lot of excitement, people eager to prove themselves.
Have you seen some of those guys from last year that had success step into a leadership role for the new faces, the younger guys?
I think offensively, the 3 guys that I would say for me that stand out are, Chase Mitchell. Xavier was such a vocal leader, like one of the best leaders we've ever had as an offensive staff. And I think you're seeing Chase step into that role from an offensive line standpoint. Obviously, with the type of year that Caden had, when he speaks, people are going to follow. And I think it's just kind of natural. Like, when you're trying to win the quarterback job, maybe there's leadership potential, but sometimes, you don't really take full advantage of that as a quarterback until you know that you're the guy. And now, obviously he is the guy, and I think he's doing a great job of trying to lead by example and be more vocal with the team. And then Quentin Cooley's a guy that has tremendous influence on our team. So I think those are the 3 guys that have the strongest potential. It's really difficult to replace a obviously player, but even more than that, just personality and leadership that you have with Xavier Gadlin. Like, if we had something going wrong during practice, he was not fearful of grabbing that team, bringing everybody up and holding them accountable. So you need that. So I think those are the 3 guys that have the most potential right now to fill that role for us.
Got Ryan and Jaden in your room now. I know it's only a few practices in, but what have you seen out of them? Where have they impressed you? And maybe what are some things you're working on them with this spring?
They are very, very intelligent, both of them. And I think they pick things up quickly, but I think they also spend a lot of time before they even come into that meeting room making sure that they understand it. Like, when we just got done with an install meeting, and I probably didn't even need to run that meeting. I think they could have gone out there and, for the most part, run the show. And a big part of that is I've got a tremendous resource in my room with Malcolm Dixon, our offensive analyst. When those 3 weeks of January when position coaches are going out on the road recruiting, Malcolm's able to spend some time with them and set up film for them, set up how to access the playbook and all that stuff. So I've got a big advantage with Malcolm being in the offense for so long. He can kind of help while the coaches are out. So that's what I've been impressed with the most with them. Like, there hasn't been, like, they know the concepts, they understand it mentally. It's just kind of fine tuning some technique and detail standpoint, but they've picked it up very, very quickly. They're very intelligent, and I think they're hungry to learn it. Coach Isaac was leaving one day, and I think he walked through the indoor, and Jaden had like 6 or 7 guys all out there, running routes and setting up, and he's going through his progressions. So that's pretty impressive. And then Ryan actually had the flu 3 days before the first practice, so he lost 8 pounds, and our athletic trainers were saying that he's probably gonna be very limited in practice 1, but he probably threw up after practice, but he's out there and he took all of his reps. Like, he called me the night before, Coach, I'm gonna be ready. I'll be out there. I'm gonna practice. So I think they're just very eager and hungry to compete and continue to learn and grow.